Hey everyone. Wow, that is so crazy. This is so crazy because so if you have iPhone, right, and you do recordings. Oh, I guess it's not 112 because I haven't named this one yet. Okay. But anyways, for like the past week, I have been seeing 112. I know I probably have mentioned this in like 4 videos now. But I'm just doing this one, and this recording is finally 167. All of the recordings have been 112. You know, the recordings go in order. So every time I do a new recording, it's been recording 112. And so I'm like, what? You know, and one of these days I woke up singing that, Cupid song. But you don't know unless you give them a try. That's not the keys and all that stuff. That's not the point. I think I probably have said that each time too. And the stuff going on with Bad Boy Entertainment right now is absolutely wild. I don't even know what to say about that. But anyways, hey everyone, welcome to Dimensional Wellness. I'm so glad to be here with you today, exchanging some energy, and we are going to be talking about this very wild dream that I had that was actually based a little bit in reality. So yeah, let's get into it. So this dream I had, okay, let me see, because there was so much weird stuff going on around this time frame. And I really encourage you, because it has helped me so much. I really encourage you also to have a dream journal. So I just do something simple. I have, my stuff typed up online, and then I put the information in so that I can go back and look at the days and remember when I had these dreams and I had these experiences, stuff like that. So I've been doing it for about 3 years now, but I've lost phones and stuff like that. So about 1.5 years of it. I started right before COVID, and then all of the information up until September 2022 got lost. And I was so PO'd about that because there's so much stuff that you even forget that happens. But anyways, I'm saying that because, when you go back and you look at the notes and you see what other stuff was going around at that time, or whatever things, other things that you were thinking about and stuff like that, it's always connected. So during this time period, which is kind of a weird reflection of like what's going on now, during this time period, before I get into this, story and everything, I feel like it's relevant. During this time period, I was really, really studying into like Anton LaVey and the Satanic Church, and Mariska Hargitay's mother, because I had a family member, one of her friends, passed away on the same bridge that Mariska Hargitay's mother passed on, which is the Twin Span in New Orleans. I believe that's the bridge that she passed away on. And she was heavily connected into Anton LaVey. And just, it was very graphic and everything. And there's just so much weird energy going on. So I remember me and this family member were talking. I was like, there's something just weird in the air. It's the same thing now. Like, there's something strange in the air. And so, the same family member, I ended up having a dream about her, okay? So, not directly about her, but I'm going to get into the dream, and then I'm going to tell you how it connected, okay? So, and this is a strange dream, but I know that in some type of way, it is actually taking place in reality. Like, it could be literal, but in some senses, but it's definitely based on something going on in reality, okay? So, certain dreams that I have, I can kind of tell when it's like, I'm mentally kind of figuring things out, but a lot of my dreams, they take some time to develop. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when your dreams are prophetic, the person that you're telling the dream to, they might not understand it like right away. Because it takes time to start developing. So anyways, so I had this dream where I was out in this place where my family member lives. So I'm going to call it Well, I'll just say it's Alaska. Okay, so Alaska. It's out in Alaska. Because this is like kind of essential to everything we're talking about. So I have a family member. She lives out in Alaska. Okay. And, but I'm going to use discretion with her name. So I'm going to call her, I'm like, Witty. Okay. We're just going to call her Witty. Okay. Like, if you know her, you can't just call her any type of name because she don't look like any type of name. Okay. Okay. Let me chill. Okay. Because I think I called somebody Rice. I'm like, I don't know why Rice came to my mind. But anyways, Witty. Okay. So I had this dream that I'm flying out to Alaska to go meet up with Witty. Okay. Now, I'm calling Witty on the phone. I'm trying to figure out where she is in Alaska because I can't quite remember. Now, as I touched down in Fairbanks, I end up at this police station. And I was like hiding under a table in this police station. Like, I really don't even know how I got under this table. But I was under this table, and this table, there's obviously nobody sitting at this table. But I could actually overhear these two officers, and I know during that time period, if I had actually seen these officers, I could identify them. Like, now, I don't exactly know, but I know that I did actually go on the Fairbanks police website to see if there were any gentlemen, like see if they matched up to the faces. And one of them, there was a guy on the website who looked like someone in the dream. So that's how I know that some of the dreams are not just, what's going on in the subconscious. Some of them are actually predicting things or exposing things. So, and it's so funny. Wait, this is so funny. Like, I kid you not. I had this dream last week where this guy would not let me fall asleep in his car. He was like, you dream about so much stuff. He was like, I'm sorry, but you can't fall asleep in my car. And I was like, are you serious? He was like, oh yeah, I'm dead serious. And I'm like, oh, you must not want, anything to come out, right? Is that why? So anyways. So anyways, I'm listening to these guys, and it's kind of like after hours. That's what it feels like, after hours at the precinct, and they're having this conversation. And so I'm like, okay, what are they having a conversation about? So I'm sitting there and I'm putting it together, and one of the guys says, he's like, this is like a supernatural problem. And I started thinking about the TV show Supernatural, which is actually really connected into my Dark Night of the Soul awakening thing. That's a whole nother conversation for another day now. But he was like, we're having this supernatural problem, and we're going to have to handle it by ourselves because we can't get Alaska PD involved. So I'm not sure exactly who they were talking about because I thought that they were the sheriffs, I guess. I don't know the different rankings and all that stuff of police officers, like, to let you know, I don't know. But it was like Alaska PD. So, like, I guess Alaska overall department or something like that they didn't want to get involved. So they had Fairbanks, and then they had like a big Alaska something over the whole state, I guess. I don't know. It was something like that. So they didn't want to get them involved. And they definitely didn't want to get the 3-letter organizations involved. So they were going to try to handle this themselves. So, of course, I'm like, okay. I'm like, if they have a supernatural problem, they definitely going to need somebody involved. Like, I'm like, you and Bob over here are not going to be able to handle this. And so I was like, what supernatural problem are they actually having? So the next thing I know, I am transported to this deep wooded area in Alaska somewhere. I have no clue. Okay, this deep wooded area. And I'm on this bridge. And all of a sudden, I'm with my family member, Woody. So I see Woody. And I'm like, girl, I've been looking for you. She's like, yeah, I'm supposed to be going with my friends, my coworkers, to this little outing out in the woods and stuff like that. And she was like, I've been trying to get in touch with them and I have not been able to find them. She was like, it's so weird. Can you help me find them? So I'm like, yeah, sure. So child, Whitty disappears. So I'm guessing she's just like in the woods. Now she can handle herself. So I'm not worried about Whitty. Okay. But I'm like, where'd her friends go? Cause you know, she said it was coworkers and they were all going together to this wooded area or something like that. So next thing I know, I'm on the bridge and I'm looking at this big, huge tree. This tree definitely reminds me of that. Is it called a weeping willow? Is that what it is in Harry Potter? That big old crazy tree. Hold on, wait. Big tree in Harry Potter. Hold on, what is that called? What's the big tree? Yeah, Whomping Willow is a large tree located on the Hogwarts ground. Okay. Very violent, sentient species of magical plant. And I actually had a dream about something similar to this too in my dream recently. I lit that thing on fire, but that's a whole nother story. Okay. So anyways, that's the tree that it reminded me of. It moved on its own. It definitely seemed like a sort of sentient consciousness. So I saw that tree and I was like, ooh, this tree looks strange. So I remember I almost zoomed my eyes in to really study the tree. I was really fixating on this tree. I'm like, what is it about this tree? There's something about this tree I cannot put my finger on. So the next thing I know, child, I kid you not. The next thing I know, there's this creature, child. There's this creature, and I don't know what type of creature it was, but it was a human something type of hybrid. So it looked human, but it definitely was not solely human. Like, it could have been a reptilian energy, something like that, like a human reptile type of situation, but I couldn't tell exactly what it was. But it was definitely pasty and white. You could see a lot of the veins just in its body in general. It was definitely dressed like a human, but it wasn't walking like a human. It didn't have any human mannerisms or anything like that. It was creepy. You know what? I might go back to Supernatural, even though you gotta be careful with that energy. I might go back to see if there was something similar in Supernatural, and then I will link that below, because maybe that's why I was thinking about Supernatural, because maybe it's a creature in Supernatural that I'll be able to link it to. But I knew immediately when I saw it, because it looked like it had one of her, it had one of her friends. And it actually was living in this tree. So I was like, oh, snap. And that friend, I don't think that she was alive. And in the dream, I was like, oh my gosh, it got Amber. I was like, oh my gosh, it got Amber. And so I knew by looking at it that was the supernatural problem that they were having, that this creature situation was taking people and eating them and taking them into this tree. At night, and they didn't know what to do with it, because it's not something that a bullet would kill or something like that, or I don't exactly know but something, I don't know, child, something was going on with it. And so I was like, oh my gosh, we have got to get them out. So the next thing I know, I was on the bridge again. In some type of way, I was on the bridge again, because I thought I was moving. I was on the bridge again, and I saw it luring the rest of her people into this tree. And so I was like, oh shoot. So by this time, I had caught its attention, and it was starting to look at me. And so I was like, oh my gosh, no, I've got to get back to my kids. I've got to figure out what to do about this thing. I can't get eaten today. No. And, I was talking to my guides and ancestors. I'm like, I know you didn't put me here for this to be everything. Because we about to fight. I know my whole accumulation is not this, because we're going to have to fight. So anyways, next thing I know, Whitney was next to me, and I was like, nah, girl, we got to get up out of Alaska ASAP, because we can't handle this being in Alaska. So all of a sudden, we ended up in front of this, like, Caballos. I think that's what it's called, Caballos. You know, I think it's like a big hunting store, kind of like, what's that other one? What's the other big hunting store? Bass Pro. Yeah, there's actually a Bass Pro over here. It's kind of like Bass Pro, but I can see the Caballos and everything have these big old huge glass, you know, windows and all type of stuff. And we had a car over there. So some type of way, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe, you know, because I wanted to try to save her friend. So I was like, maybe we can go there and try to get some lighter fluid and set the thing on fire or something, blah, 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 blah. So we ran into the Caballos, and the thing had followed us in there. Now, I didn't know that until I was like getting lighter fluid, and I heard it kind of scoff a little bit. So I'm like, oh shoot. I'm like, like, not only did it see us, but now it's like actively focused on us. So I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. And so I'm telling Whitney, I'm like, girl, we got to do something. I'm like, we need a distraction or something, because it's in here and it's going to get us if we go out into the parking lot. I was so terrified. I was like, this stuff is bananas. This stuff is crazy. And so in my head, I was like, maybe I could start playing with the electricity. Maybe I could start playing with the electricity. I'm like, okay, if I got some superhuman abilities, something like that, child, this is about to be the time, because we are about to be lizard food or something if you don't get this stuff together. So I kid you not, I was like, I don't know what to do other than to focus on it. Like, I didn't know how to turn on the electricity, you know, and spark it, because I wanted to like over spark the electricity in the place and have like the electricity going haywire and, you know, like stuff like that, like not to catch on fire, but just like a big roar, so that, oh look, one of these lights just turned on, a big old roar so we could get away, right? And so the next thing I know, hold on. Okay, so the next thing I know, we were coming out, and I was just keeping my head down. I was just focused. I was like, focus on this intention, focus on this intention, focus on this intention, focus, and you'll be able to do it. So the next thing I know, we're walking out, we're running to the car, and by this time I'm like, we need to just hop a flight, because like, we can't do anything. Like, we're not prepared for this. We need to just hop a flight and leave Alaska. So we get in the car, and we're like trying to like zoom out of the parking lot, and we have to pass the front of the store again. So our car was like in the back, and there's only like one exit, which was like heading back to the front of the store. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that thing is not waiting for us out there or anything like that, because it's crazy. And so the next thing I know, we passed in front of the store, and I kid you not, the electricity is going crazy. The lights are going crazy. And I look at my hands, and I can see like electricity off of them. And I'm like, I knew it. Yeah, and that was pretty wild. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that's not the only dream where I've had like the ability to like affect weather or something like that. I remember this really crazy dream one time where I was like sitting in this office, and it was very pristine. It was very sterile, you know, white, you know, nobody's touching anything, you know, just very sterile. And I remember thinking like, why am I in here? And so there was a girl that was sitting next to me, and I just happened to ask her like, why are we here? And she's like, what do you mean why you're here? And I'm like, I don't even remember how I got here. Where are we and what are we doing? And so as I was asking her, I realized that she didn't know why we were there. So I was like, okay, did somebody bring us here and like they're messing with our memories or something? I'm like, you don't remember how you got here either? And she was like, no, actually I don't. I'm like, do you know why we're here? And then somebody brought us like food on the tray. And I'm always suspicious about eating food in the dream world. Like, for real. Like, unless I'm cooking it, I'm very suspicious about eating food in the dream world. And so this person was trying to offer us like these little hors d'oeuvres and stuff, and like a little bit of champagne. I was like, no thanks. And she ended up drinking some, and I mean, she looked like she might have been fine, but, and I'm just not really that person. Like, you know, I'm not like that kind of person that, you know, I'll go to someone's house and I won't eat, you know, unless I just really don't feel like it. Like, I'm not that type of person in this reality where I'm like, I don't trust people's food. But in the dream world, I do not trust people's food. And so the next thing I know, there was a girl who got called, and there was like 2 women that came out. So there's one woman that was like obviously in charge, and this was like an Asiatic woman, long straight black hair, also very pristine looking, but she was dressed in like a navy type of blue suit. And then there's a woman who came out, and she kind of, I'm not gonna lie, she kind of looked like a scientist, something like that, with glasses and a lab coat. And she was, you know, called this girl and was asking her questions, stuff like that. She made her take this little, fill out this information form, and then she took her to like this back room, I guess, to like ask her questions or something. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, did I sign up for some type of check or something like that? Because I don't remember doing that. So I'm like, let me just wait my turn and let's just see, right? So the next thing I know, it's my turn. They call my name, and the woman comes over there, and again, she tries to hand me something. I'm like, no, I don't want that. And I said it kind of rude, which also I'm not a rude person. I'm kind, not necessarily nice, and I can be sweet, but I am blunt. But I'm not rude. But this time I was being a little bit rude to her. I was like, I'm not taking that, and why am I here? Who are you? I need some answers. And so she did something, child. I don't know what she did. She did something, but I took my energy, and I remembered this like electricity I had, and she tried to touch my arm or something. I don't know if she was trying to grab me. I don't know what she was trying to do, but I shocked her, and I sent that electricity all the way through her right arm. And she jumped back in pain. She was like, get her out of here. Get her out of here. And so I'm like, thank you, because I don't even know why I'm here. And so the Asian woman that was over everything, she was like, no, bring her to the back. And the woman was like so upset. She was like, she's violent. We don't need those type of women. We're in this situation and blah, 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 blah. Did you see what she did to me? And this woman was like, well, I like her. She's got a little spice. Seemed like she's not going to just let anybody come and, you know, talk her into stuff or whatever. She was like, yeah, bring her to the back. So she brought me to a different place in the back. So there's like these 2 double doors that look like it was kind of like a checkup area, you know, like you're going to get a checkup or something. So she brought me to these 2 double doors, and I kid you not, I walked through the double doors and I was like floating in the sky between clouds. That's what I was doing. And so they were looking, they were like, oh, interesting. And so the Asian woman asked me, she was like, do you think that you can move these clouds? And I was like, with some type of powers or something? I'm like, I've never done that before. She was like, I think that you can do it. So I'm like, okay, well, start me off. How would I do it? She was like, you have to mentally connect to the cloud and then tell it to move. And so I was like, okay. And so she was like, I mean, you're saying okay, but you realize that you're levitating right now, which I was. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm levitating, that means that the possibility is there. So maybe I can move this cloud. So I kid you not, it took me about like 20 minutes of like deep, intense thinking of this cloud moving. And at some point I made some type of connection to the cloud, and all of the clouds moved out of the way. I started making cloud figures. I started making rain, all type of things, all type of, like, I guess, weather manipulation and stuff. And so she was like, yeah, you're an airbender. And I was like, is that a thing? And she was like, yeah, it's a thing. And so that was, I guess that's what they wanted to find out. And so they were going to offer me to be a part of something. I don't know how that even played out. I know I started talking about something totally different, but that made me think of that. So anyways, with the previous dream I was talking about, I woke up from that dream, and I found out that that Whitty actually was planning to go on a trip with a friend and some coworkers from work. And the main friend that I was talking about, though she showed up physically a little bit different in the dream, her name, in fact, was Amber. And so I was like, they really don't need to go on this trip. And then it was like a few weeks after that. I think it was a few weeks after that one of her friends ended up passing on this bridge under some very strange circumstances. And that actually tied into, I don't even know if I've talked about the Santa Muerte stuff yet, because that's a whole nother situation with the Santa Muerte information. But yeah, turned out to be a very strange thing, and I still haven't really figured out what it's talking about. But like I said, I will definitely check into Supernatural and see if there is an episode that talks about this thing. Because I'm sure that it probably does. Supernatural is on some whole other stuff. Like, that's like the main TV show that I was watching when I had this like Dark Night of the Soul, spiritual awakening situation, and they really are on some stuff. Oh my gosh, and the God in that movie, I think his name is Chad. Oh my gosh, I think his name is Chad. Let me see. What do they call God in Supernatural? Chuck. Yeah, Chuck, Chad, pretty much. Chuck and Chad are connected. What does Chuck mean? I think Chad means a free man, a free person, or something like that. Let me see. Chuck meaning. Throw carelessly or casually. Oh yeah, like to chuck something outside. To give up. She wanted to chuck her job. Oh yeah, and that's a dismiss or rejection. That is what that is like kind of like his role on Supernatural. Where he just kind of like throws away his job as God and just kind of like lets everything go to hell, like figuratively and literally just lets everything kind of go. So that makes sense that they call him Chuck. Okay, but let me see if there's like a deeper meaning though. Let's see what Chuck etymology. Yeah, etymology. Chuck etymology. Late 17th century from Chuck. Okay. A variant of chalk. Give a blow under the chin. Pat playfully. Okay. Coming from chakure, to knock or hit. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, that is what I have for you guys today. Yeah, and if I find out some more information, because you just never know. In this reality, you just never know, okay? But if I find out some more information, I will definitely post about it when I get around to it. Okay, so make sure to do all those fun things that we do here on YouTube. That is like, comment, subscribe, share, heavy on the commenting, and share it with a friend. And yeah, don't miss when I post new videos, new dreams. Bye.